Greetings! Welcome to Forerunner Gaming, a channel in which I will be doing tutorials and gameplay videos and all that fun stuff. So, this episode that I will be hosting today will be covering the fundamentals of the StarCraft II Map Editor. The goal of the series is for you, the viewer, to learn how to create a melee map, which is the standard 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4 maps that are found in StarCraft II's multiplayer. I will be using Legacy of the Void expansion, which is the newest of the StarCraft II universe. And yes, let's hop right in. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will be assuming that you know nothing about map making. So the first episode will mainly be covering how to get acquainted with the editor and its various tools. So to open the StarCraft II Map Editor, you merely need to go to your battle.net browser, whatever this is, startup window, and next to options and redeem code, you'll see a green tooltip that will say Launch Editor. So we will click that. Now, I already have the editor open. If you are opening it for the first time, you'll likely have to download it. It's quite the long ordeal. Not fun, but you know. Yeah, so it's already running. That's fine, I'll cancel the startup. So, here we have Thundering Tides, a map that I made recently. It took me roughly 7 hours to train it at all the doodads, the water, everything, right? Texturing. Now, I've been doing this for a while, so it's a bit quicker for me. But I assure you, you'll get the hang of it, and it'll be like a breeze once you practice a few maps. So, let's get started by step one. You always want to use a map that is already published and already is like considered good to the community before you hop into making your own map and start playing with everything. If you want it to be a semi-official map, like this map is moderately balanced. I've had maybe 25-30 games playtested on it, and all the races have a roughly equal win rate. There's still much more balancing work ahead of me, but yeah, so it's moderately balanced. So what I would recommend you do before you start making your map is you go up to the top, you go to File, Open, and you'll see 3 tabs at the top: Local Files, Battle.net, and Campaign. Local files are all of the maps that you have saved on your computer right now. Battle.net is all the maps that are published by Blizzard, are all of them, right? So if I click go, it'll show me all the maps. And then Campaign is all the maps of the campaign from whatever expansions you own. So the current season, you see my game's going to get all laggy because I'm loading this up. So the current season that we are in, of the time I'm making this video, is 2017 Season 3. And Ascension Ire, Odyssey, Blood Boil, are all really, really good maps. Community loves it. I like it too. So I'll be using Abyssal Reef. Right, so I would recommend, depending on what season you're in, to find a map that the community likes, right? A map that you like. And use this as the groundwork, or like the wireframing, as to speak, of the map that you're going to be designing. So I type it in, I find it, I download it, okay. And now Battle.net will get right on to launching my the map that I'm opening. So we'll just wait a few seconds for that to finish up. The music in the background is 1 hour of chill out Halo music. I listen to this. Minecraft, StarCraft, a bunch of music when I do my map making. I will put a link to this video in the description because I just love listening to it. So that's what I listen to. That's what I'm going to be playing while I make these videos. All right, so we have Abyssal Reef loaded up. So the basic controls for the map editor, right? So left click. If you left click on something, how do I phrase it? Okay, so we have terrain, units, doodads, points, regions, cameras, pathing. Okay, these are all of the tools available to us. So I'll just click on terrain for now, and yeah. When you have terrain selected and you left click, you select terrain that you are able to copy, right? So I would be able to do like Control C, Control V, and copy that terrain and move it elsewhere. I'm not going to do that for now just because I'm explaining myself. And then right click, if I hold right click on my mouse button, I can hold it and move around the map. I can also, if I scroll down, I will back up and see the map from above. If I scroll in, I can zoom in really close. Zooming in is scrolling up, right? Now, to reset my camera, I hold Control, Shift, and then tap C, and it resets my camera. You can also do that by going to View, Camera, Reset to Gameplay View. All right. Now, sometimes you also want to be able to get a different look at what you're designing, right? A different angle. So if I hold the Control button on my keyboard and then hold right trigger on my mouse, I can maneuver around a fixed point, and all the same controls apply. So I hold Control and then I hold my right mouse down, and I'm able to look around. And then I let go of Control, and then I can keep moving around, right? Now, if I go back to gameplay view, which is Control Shift C, now I'm back at the view of what the player is when they get started. Great. Okay. Next, we have units. This will allow you to select units in the game. So like Marines, supply depots, probes. For the case of making melee maps, which is what we're doing now, basically you will have only a handful of units that you put on your map, which will be mineral fields, Vespine geysers, destructible rocks, and Zelnaga watchtowers. I think there's one like right. Is there a Zelnaga watchtower? I don't know. Because you want the map balanced. So that's what units are for. Doodads are everything in the game that are just for aesthetically pleasing purposes. So you see I'm able to select them and look at these doodads. They're random stuff like rocks, twigs, all of this stuff that's just supposed to make the map look pretty. Right. All right. Okay. There are points. The only points that we use for melee maps are start locations, and I'll get into that once we set up our map. Regions, we don't have to use that at all because we're making melee maps. Cameras, we don't use at all. Pathing is all of the locations where impathable terrain will go, unflyable locations are, all the place where you don't want player units to traverse to. All right. Let's see what's next. I think that does it for the tools. Yeah. So now we have map information. We go to the tabs up here and go to map. And this is what we want to look at right when we start any new map. So if we go to map info, this will tell us the name, the suggested players, and the description. You are able to, we'll get more into this once we actually get there. What's important right now for the purpose of our map that we're going to be creating is going to bounds. All right. So as I said before, we want to find a map that is well-rounded, the community enjoys, just as a starting off point so you can find out what you want your map to be about. So there's all this complex information that what we're looking for is the map size. It's huge map size. Playable is 152 by 136, and full is 200 by 176. What that means is that within this white box here, that my mouse is going around right now, that is all the area where player units can move. And within this yellow ticked box, the marching ants, so to speak, that's the entire area where the player's camera can view. So my camera can go all the way to here, but once it reaches this point where my mouse is, it cannot go any more to the right. And then full is all this extra area. The reason why this extra area is here is because since StarCraft II is a 3D 2D type of game, I can move my camera all the way up here, and then I can make it face this direction, or I can make it face this direction. So this extra area up here is so that there's not just like a black box at the way back of your map. So I'm going to be using these dimensions for the tutorial map that we're going to be making. So I would recommend going to like sticky notes or something. I use this all the time for my map making. And adding a note. So I'm going to put playable 152 by 136. Oh, whoops. And then full 200 by 176. So I want to put down that information for when I make my map. I know how big I want it to be. There we go. And we will click OK. And for now, that's all we need from this map. But we want to open for quick access later when we're going to be measuring distances between bases and such. So at any time, you can go to the top right here and you'll see a tab that says Window. And this will have all the windows that are currently open within the map editor. So I have Untitled Map, Thundering Tides, and Abyssal Reef. Now, if I go to Thundering Tides and I click that, it'll open up Thundering Tides. It's still open in the background. So yeah. Alrighty, so I changed the background music and I made sure a few technical things were all settled, and now I'm back. So, time to get started on your first map, or whatever your skill level is. We go to File, New, and it's going to ask us to choose a document type. There's melee map, training map, arcade map, dependent mod, extension mod. Melee maps are standard 1v1, 2v2, and so on maps that you find in StarCraft II's multiplayer. Training maps are for goofing off. Arcade maps will appear in the arcade, and then mods are extensions to arcade maps or extensions to custom game maps. If you want to make a melee map, you have to make sure that your map includes a number of settings so that it appears in the multiplayer custom game lobby when you publish it. Let me turn down my music just a tad here. So, for the purposes of this video, we're going to be making a melee map. So, next. You get to choose what expansion you want. I have all three, and I would like to be using the latest one. So, I will choose Legacy of the Void. And now we're going to start configuring our map size and our terrain. So, just like 30 seconds ago, I pulled up Abyssal Reef, and I wrote down the dimensions. Now, you have to be very careful here, because right here where it says width and height, that is the full area, and then this shows you the playable size. So you want these to match as close as possible, right? Sometimes it won't match exactly, but who knows. So width is 200, and then height is 176. Now, once you get more experienced making maps, you're definitely gonna be able to change this around. But for now, just kind of stick with here. Now, you'll notice the playable size is not the same as the playable size on Abyssal Reef. That's because we're going to have to make a few changes to the camera if we want it to match exactly. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, we want to make sure that Use Terrain is checked. and we want to select a texture set that we like. So here's a bunch of texture sets. I typically use Agria. It's pretty standard. Well, let's see. I don't know. Thundering Tides uses Meinhof, I think, or Monolith. It uses Monolith, not Meinhof. What am I talking about? I want to create a nice, lovely ice map. Like so. Let's find an ice map. Is this an ice map? Nope. So you just all I did to do this is I click something, and then with the up and down arrow keys, I'm just cycling through all the different texture sets at my disposal. And as you can see, there are plenty of textures that you can use. But be warned, it's very difficult to change your texture after you select one and actually make your map on it. So I would take some time and think about what are you looking for in your map. So it looks like we have Ice World 1 and 2 here. They look very similar. I will just use Fortress because it sounds cool. Okay, base height. This is the standard height of the terrain in your map. Naturally, all maps have 3 different terrain heights. No, they have 4. I'm sorry, they have 4 technically. They have level 1 terrain, which is at base height 8, and that's typically where the middle of the map is. They have level 2 terrain, which is 1 terrain up, where like ramps go up, and now you're on the 2nd stage. They have level 3 terrain, which is a ramp upwards and then a ramp upwards again. This is typically where your main base is. So for the purpose of Abyssal Reef, for example, your main base is on terrain level 3, your naturals on terrain level 2, and then terrain level 1 is the middle of the map. And then you have terrain level 0, which is just an endless chasm that goes down and is completely unpathable. So when you're making your map, you want to think about how you're going to manipulate these 3 main levels to affect your playing experience. So yeah, we'll do that. Then you choose what you want your map to initially be textured as. I'll just use this generic snow. Oh yeah, I didn't finish. Level 1 base height is 8, level 2 base height is 10, level 3 base height is 12. So it goes in increments of 2 for the first 3 base heights. If you want to add random height, you can. I would not recommend it, especially if you're trying to make an official melee map. So there we go. Let's click OK, and it will immediately start generating up our map. Here we go. Here is our lovely map. It looks amazing, am I right? Yeah, you may need to go back earlier in the video and familiarize yourself with the controls, just because I'm not gonna be saying it as I go. So yeah, here we go. So Control Shift C, I go right back to the center of the map. So before we can even get started making the fun map that we know is going to be amazing, we're going to go up to the toolbar up here and click Map and go to Map Bounds. All right. So I'm going to open up my sticky note here and look at the playable size and change it to fit this. So right now the playable size is 200 by 176, and we want it to be 152 by 136. So let's do that. We can start pushing the map inwards. Oh shoot, I messed up. Let me go back here. I'm sorry. The playable size is 174 by 148, not 200 by 176. So I'm not sure what I was thinking there. So we're gonna make the first number 152. I'm just making sure to do it evenly on both sides. All right, so 152 is done, and then we want it to be 136. So make it even on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Another for both. Okay, so now our map is exactly the same size. If I were to click here, I'd be able to move the playable bounds around, but I want it to be perfectly centered, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, if anytime you mess up, you can always reset to default and try again. So we're going to click OK for that. So now we're going to... My dog is acting crazy in the background. Now we're going to look at the bounds and how they affect our game. So if you press V, it will bring up the building grounds of your map. So I'm going to click Control-Shift-C and look back at the center. Now, it's kind of hard to see because of the texture of this map, but you see these green dots, or these green boxes? They look familiar, don't they? These are the building, where buildings are able to be placed. Now, if I go to the edge of the map, you'll see eventually the green becomes red. And this red is where the playing ends. There is no more building over here. The map bounds has been reached. So you need to design your game or your map within these green bounds. Anything outside of it, it can't be built in, so it might as well not be even playable, right? Okay. And that was V. I'm pretty sure you can also do it by view. Where is it? Might be under tools. It's somewhere over here. I just remember the hotkeys. It's just V, okay? Just remember it's V. Most of the time we edit the map, I'm going to be in the V mode, and this shows me a lot of important stuff. Let me change this music real quick. There we go. So, since I want a balanced map, I'm going to want to make sure that this is symmetrical, right? Symmetrical maps seem nice. So, I'm going to go to Map, right up here. Go to Map Symmetry, right underneath Map Bounds. And we're going to change None to whatever you want. There's Rectangular, which will reflect it completely in like a horizontal or vertical manner. Reflect is a straight up, if I have a base here, it will make a base here. Translate is if I have a base here, it will make a base here. All right. And I can choose horizontal, vertical, or a combination of both, which will just make some crazy map like that. All right. There's rectangular, diagonal, rotational. Rotational is kind of the standard. Most maps are rotational. I will be using rotational. You have bounds here, which is playable, full, and custom. If you remember correctly, we have playable and full bounds that we just set a few minutes ago. I will be using playable since our playable bounds is exactly what we need to be reflected. Everything outside the playable bounds, it really doesn't matter because it doesn't need to be symmetric because the players won't be able to access that terrain. So we'll click OK. Okay, so I'm going to go to Terrain up here, which the hotkey for Terrain is T. So you'll see me switch quickly between all of these different tools using my hotkeys. So Terrain is T, Unix is U, Doodads is D, and then the only other one you need to know is Pathing, which is H, but we don't use that too often. So Terrain is T, Doodads is D, Unix is U. Right, pretty easy. So here's all of the tools that we have within our terrain toolbar. We have the brush tool. Right now I'm going to press V and exit the green build view. So I'm going to click texture, add texture, and then select some random texture that I want. Okay. So if I left click, you'll notice that it starts to slowly add the texture that I have selected to the map. So I'm just doing this to show it. Now I'm holding down left click and it's doing it very slowly just because I have a very low increment. To increase the speed it does it, I can increase the increment and it does it extremely fast. I would not recommend doing that. So I'm going to set it to maybe like 32 or something like that. And the way I did that was I moved the toolbar, and then I wanted it to be an exact number, so I used left arrow key to move it to exactly 32. You also have size, which, as you can probably guess, increases the size of the brush. All right. Now, you can edit it right here, but typically what I do is I change the bracket. So if I have my brush selected, if I press the left bracket button, it will decrease the size of my brush. So see, I'm pressing it, and it changes the size to really, really tiny. And then if I press the right bracket, it will increase the size up to the max. Right? And then speed is just how long does my brush have to be on a certain area before it starts putting it down. So that's very fast speed. And then this is very slow speed. Right. Normally you want on medium or something or the other. And then there's different shapes that you can use to change how you do it. There's different styles to make it more like varied and such. See how it looks different. Okay, so now that we've made a complete mess of our map, to undo all this outrageous terrain work that I just did, I hold Control and then I press Z repeatedly, and that undoes all the actions from the previous single click. So I'll keep doing that. So see, if I tap and then move, tap and then move, tap, right? I have to press Control Z 3 times to undo my past 3 actions. So yeah. Another thing that you can do, another quick hotkey, is if you hold Control while you have like your brush selected, it will immediately fully paint that terrain with whatever texture you have. Right? It's not used too often, but I mean, sometimes you want to just quickly paint something. So I'm going to Control Z that because I don't want that. Oh, look at that, a map bug that happens randomly. The only way to fix it really is to take your there you go, you just paint over it. Okay, so that's all the terrain, not the terrain, what is it? Texturing, that's all the texturing tools. Now, these are the settings I typically use for texture work. So you can copy them if you want. You don't have to. It doesn't matter. Now here's the other texture tools. There's the add texture, and then there's the remove texture, which, like say I put on. Oops, I have to go to add. Let's say I put on this texture right here, right? And I want to get rid of some of it to make it seem more natural. I can go to the remove texture and like maybe tap it, and you see it starts removing it to whatever the background texture is. Or to save yourself some time, I could be on any function within the map editor and hold Shift, and it reverses the function. So if you look at my arrow key, see how there's the arrow and then there's a little plus below it? If I hold Shift, now it turns to a minus sign. So it does that for everything, which is really nice. So you'll almost never see me go to the minus, because if I want to remove it, I can just hold Shift and remove it via that way. There's uniform texture, which, as you could probably guess, if I go here, let me increase the increment a bit just because I'm doing random stuff. All right, here we go. And I go to uniform texture. It's going to make it all the same. So see how it kind of blends it there? Yeah, I'm sure you could play around with this in your own map editor. There's replace texture. You just choose a texture that you want replaced and what you want to change it to, and then there you go. This is what, smudge? Yeah, this is smudge. I don't really use it often, but you can use it to like blend textures. Blur, which is very similar to smudge, except it's larger and it's a bit more natural. Like when you blur, it has a direction to wherever you blurred it to. Yeah. Then there's fill texture, which I just click on somewhere and it will fill the entire texture with whatever I have selected. Generally, you have it fill within cliff level, which is, you know how I said there is 4 different levels of the map, level 0, 1, 2, and 3. If I click on, like say, level 1, If I have cliff level selected, it will fill all the texture for level 1 that is continuous. So by continuous, I mean if I have a level 1 here, a level 1 terrain here, and a level 1 terrain here, and I click on this one, it will fill just that one level 1 terrain. It will not fill all level 1 terrains for the map. So yeah. So now I'm going to undo what I did and start moving to height. Height, we're basically never going to use it, but you can play around with it. It raises the floor, right? This is not raising the floor as in like actual hills, like, you know, when you're in a multiplayer map and you see ramps and such. This is not the hills that they're talking about. This is just for aesthetics. So I'm going to get rid of that. You have lower. You have uniform noise, which is just random noise. And then you also have smooth, which is smoothing out the map. We're not going to look at this. Cliff. This is probably one of the most important tools of map making, because it doesn't matter how pretty your map is or anything really. If your map does not have good terrain, no one will play it because it's not going to be balanced. It's not going to be fun. So I'm going to press V here to open up our menu. Control-Shift-C. And this will show us where we want our main base to start. So I'm going to want, what I'm thinking for this map is having a main base here, maybe a ramp that goes down into a pretty easy to secure natural. I don't know. I'm thinking of all this on the spot. You want to probably plan your map before you do it so that you don't waste a bunch of time changing your theme and stuff. Let's see. So I need to change the music. Let's see, I'm gonna have a small path outside my natural, and then 2 downwards paths that lead to the 3rd and 4th, and the 4th is going to be attackable by high ground, and the 3rd there'll be like a back door. I don't know, I'll make it more as I go. So we have raised cliff, lower cliff, same level cliff, add ramp, remove ramp. Yeah, raised cliff is the one that you're going to be using the most often, because I can click somewhere and raise the cliff, right? And then if I want to just unraise the cliff, I hold shift and then it just reverses my operation, right? Also, another hotkey that's very useful is, like, say I have, I'm holding this down, right? Holding my left mouse button down to make this cliff. If I want to, I don't know. If I hold the control key down and I move it, the map editor will make the cliff or wherever my brush is the same level as where I was originally. So if I was on level 1 and I hold left click and I drag, it's going to make everything that I path over level 1. If I'm on level 2 and I hold and drag, it'll make it all level 2. So that's the control button. I'm holding the control button. So left click increases height. Shift left click decreases height. And then here's the infamous level 0. See, nothing can path into that. And then holding control makes all the height the same as where I originally clicked. So let me undo all that by spamming Control Z. All right, there we go. So we want proper map dimensions. Once you're better at making maps, you'll start learning like the good ones. But for now, I would recommend that you use another map for reference. So I'm going to open back up Abyssal Reef, our good friend Abyssal Reef. By the way, Abyssal Reef, Ascension Ire, both of those were created by the same person. I totally forget his name. Hold on, let me give him the credit he deserves. Map info. Sidian the Bard. There we go. And it was a community-made map. It was submitted to Team Liquid map making contest, and it won. And now it's a ladder map, right? It's seen in competitions all the time. So this just goes to show, if you do your work and make a balanced map and push it out there to the community, it's possible that your map can get featured in ladder. So that's nice. Okay. I'm going to use the measure distance tool, which is under tools, measure distance. The hotkey is Control M. All right, you'll see line something 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 and path something something will come up. The measure distance tool is useful for measuring distance. Wow, who would have guessed? So for Abyssal Reef, we have the main base. I'm going to measure the size of the main base and kind of get a feel for how big I want the main base of my map to be. Now, I want to make a rush map, okay? Or, I don't know, I can't really make a rush map now because it's so big, because I'm using Abyssal Reef for reference. But I'm going to design like a rush map, because I don't know. This is a tutorial. I'm not trying to make a pro MLG map right now. So, I'm going to left-click somewhere, and that sets the start point. As you see, there's a point there, and then I drag it over, and this will tell me how far it is. So I can still hold right-click and move around. So this main base for Abyssal Reef is 29 long. All right. So I click again, and that cancels it. And then, I mean, it's 29 high, and it's 30 long. So it's about 30 by 30, right? So I'm going to go to my notepad here again and go to, say, main, 30 by 30. All right, another thing that I want to measure is the distance between the main base. So I'm clicking right in the middle of the main to the ramp. Right in the middle of the ramp is 19. So I'll write down main to ramp, 19. And then now I'm going to go ramp to natural, right? And this can be right here is, what, 13? Oh, actually, no, it's technically 19, because there's line and path. Line is the straight up direct distance between point A and point B. Path is the distance that a unit has to go across to reach there. So if I have to go from here, 9, then here, 2, to here, like what, 4? That's going to add up to about 13. So you want to use path when you're measuring these distances that units have to traverse. So for a unit to go from the ramp to the natural, it's going to be 19. So I'm going to write that down. Ramp to natural, 19. And then main to natural. Click on the main here. And then click on the natural here. 45. And who would have guessed? It's just about the adding up main to ramp and ramp to natural. So that's really nice to know, isn't it? Oh my gosh, Halo music, you're failing me. I'm gonna change it. Why not? Turn on the Minecraft soundtrack. I'll probably have to edit this out, rip. Alrighty. So let's go back to the map editor. Sorry for that. This is a pretty relaxing episode. If you really want to sit down and make a melee map, I can only be so professional, okay? Because this gets boring. So, now that we have some dimensions lined out, actually, since I'm here, I'm also going to measure the natural to third, which is 43, and then the main to third, which is 67. So main to third, 67, natural to third, 33. So this is all a bunch of nice information that we can use for making our map balanced. Alrighty, let's go to window and back to untitled map, the best map. Oh yeah, here's our map. So we know that we want our main to be roughly 30 by 30. So to about that big. and then we want it to be 30 tall. There we go. Okay, so this is kind of where we want our squaring off to be. So I'm going to press the space bar to exit the measuring tool. I'm going to put my finger on the screen so I don't lose its place and go to raise cliff. We have an option between organic cliff and, wow, we don't even have a man-made cliff. Whatever, some of the textures have man-made cliff, but it doesn't really matter. So here's organic cliff 1. Let's look at organic cliff 2 so we can see the difference. This has a white border. This doesn't. I guess I'll use this unwhite border. I'll use the white border for maybe the center of the map so it looks more snowed in. So I'm just going to be making a very simple like block here. And see the green, like my cursor is a green circle right now. That means I'm holding down the control key. Alrighty. There we go. I'm going to make it very square. All right, and I want to make sure that these red boxes here are not available at all within my main base. There should not be a place in my main base where I just can't build because the map bounds prohibit me from doing so. All right, so I'm going to click Control-Shift-C here to go back to gameplay view. Now, our main base is going to have to be a bit away from the edge. There's going to need to be maybe about 3 blocks behind the mineral field so that there can be like drops and like, you know, we can put Unix and Missile Turks there and photon cannons to prevent against Liberator play or whatever, right? So because I'm kind of gauging the size of my main, I'm going to want to bring in the mineral field. Now, instead of designing your own mineral field, you can just steal someone else's, right? This is not only easier, it's also more balanced because you can take it from a map that already is published from Blizzard and make sure that, like, oh yeah, my mineral fields aren't broken. So let me just go find a mineral field at the bottom left corner. Here we go. So this is what I'm looking for. I want mineral fields that is facing the bottom right corner. So to copy this, I'm going to press U for units, all right, and press spacebar to deselect whatever unit I had selected. Now I'm going to click and drag, and it makes this really weird box. The box conforms to the terrain, so you just be careful, make sure you have everything selected. And then I'm going to hold Control and press C, which stands for copy. So now I got what I want. I'm going to go to Map, and Window, and go back to the map that I was working on. So I'm going to press V to show me my grid. Press and hold Control and press V, which will pull up this place where I can place my my mineral field. So I'm just going to drop it for now. Just click it somewhere. So now there's 3 types of grids right now. We have the blue, the green, and the red. The blue means a command center may not exist this close to the mineral field. Since this is a balanced mineral field, you see that there's a perfect square right here where our command center or nexus or whatever can go. Yeah. So what we're going to want is we want this to be maybe about here, I guess. Yeah, about here. We want there to be enough room for there to be maybe 1 green block just outside behind the mineral fields so that defenses can be built. So I think right there looks fine. I'm going to press T to go back to terrain, and then press the space bar to pull up my brush again, right? And now hold Control, and I'm going to cut this off so it looks a bit more natural. Look at this. This is professional map makers at work already. Look how natural this looks. Wow. Of course, you're going to have to go back and make this better. Here, I'm going to push out my minerals just a bit by pressing U, space, selecting them. I'm going to bring them up and over to maybe push them in 1 more. There we go. So press T, space, and keep fleshing out my map. Oh man, this looks atrocious. Whatever, we just want the balancing done first, because we're going to get the map tested and everything by some random players online. Hopefully they're nice enough to see how our map looks, right? Okay, so now since I'm making the base, I want to make sure that I'm staying within the guidelines of the size. So I'm going to press Control M to bring up my measuring tool again. And if we remember correctly, it is 30 by 30. So I think it's still roughly that size. That's good. So great, everything's going very swell. So press space to cancel out of that, and space again to get our brush. And yeah, I'm going to check my video settings really quick. Just make sure that everything's recording properly. Cool, my computer is not blown up just yet, so I'm going to continue working on this. So now I'm going to spend a bit more time fleshing out our main base here. It doesn't have to look amazing, just, you know, want to make time to make it look a bit natural. Okay, so I'm going to put the natural right here. Yeah, there's a lot of dead time when you're working on maps, so you catch up on your tunes, maybe listen to a podcast while you're doing this, right? Good fun. Okay, so I want my ramp to be here, and it will lead into the natural. So let me get my add ramp tool and click right here to add a ramp. Now that ramp is freaking huge, so I'm going to Control Z that, decrease my brush size by pressing left bracket, and try again. I want one, there we go, I want a one width ramp. 90% of the maps you make, 95%, you're going to want a one width ramp from your main to your natural, or your main outside, just so Terrans can wall in and everything. And every time you make a ramp, always make it diagonal, like sideways like this. Never make it horizontal like this. Never. Don't do it. Your map is instantly terrible. Okay, it's hard to wall this in. No one likes it. Everyone will hate you, and no one will play your map. Okay, so just remember to make it sideways like this. All right. So now that that's added, I'm gonna push this in a bit more. And I don't know. I don't even really have a theme for this map. I'm just making it to make it. That's just one sexy main base. Okay, so I'm going to want the natural to be here. Now I want to make sure that my distances are right, or else the whole map's going to be imbalanced. So I'm going to press Control M and pull up the measuring tool, our old reliable. And let me pull out my notepad and see the distance from main to ramp is 19, and main to natural is 45. So main to ramp is, that is a bit farther than 19, but as long as it's 45 still, it should be good. Okay, so we're gonna put our natural right here. So I'm gonna put my finger on the screen so that I remember where it is when I go grab my cliff tool, and just boom, that's where our natural is going to be. All right, so I'm going to lower here. I'm holding the shift key, by the way, to lower it. Hold Control, right click to drag around, and maybe get a better view to do here. There we go. Okay. So I want this trench around my natural, because why not? All right, so I kind of remember where the natural is now, so I'll get rid of that. Here's our amazing trench. All right, so I'm gonna want this pathway to kind of walk around here, and then I'll put the third, oh man, so Control Shift C to reset the camera view. I'll put the third maybe right here or something. I don't know, I think this needs to be a bit more open. How am I gonna do this? I think to make an interesting map, I'm gonna put the fourth base on elevated ground, just to try to add something interesting. All right, so I'm still not sure yet. I'm still just kind of working with the map. Send this cliff plenty of room. There we go. Alrighty, there we go. So we have our base, our natural. I'm going to press space and then press U to go to Unix, and we select all these Unix. Control C and then Control V, and then slap them right there. So I still have them selected. Now a quick hotkey to turn your stuff is to press any number on the number pad. So I'm pressing number pad 5 and then press asterisk, which is the little star thing, and I'll just straight up turn it 90 degrees clockwise. Or if I hold number pad and press slash, I'll turn it counterclockwise. Yeah, very, very amazing, isn't it? Now, doing that a lot will really screw up your mineral fields and stuff that you have selected. So I'm actually just going to delete this and just find a mineral patch on Abyssal Reef. So that it's copied perfectly. Also, if you don't understand the hotkey that I just told you, you can also do it by going to Edit. I need something selected. Edit, rotate clockwise, counterclockwise, flip horizontally. You know, all that good stuff. So let's find a mineral field. Here we go. Straight up, just copy this. Mwahaha. Why make your own mineral field when you can steal someone else's? All right. So see, I make sure that my my map follows the rule where I need plenty of space behind my mineral field so that it can defend from counterattack. All right. So see, since there's this huge trench behind the mineral field, I want a lot more space, just to make sure that air defenses can be set up and to harass, to defend from harass. Alrighty, there we go. Looking good. Press V, look at that. Cool. Okay. And now let's get the third base. Let's find out where we're going to slap this third base. So, main to third is 67, natural to third is 33. So, I'm going to press Control M and find 33 here. So, and since I used pathing to determine this, all right, so the third should be right around here. I think we can work with that. So I'm going to put my finger on the screen, press space, get my raised cliff, boom. Okay, so the third should be right around here maybe. Now, I don't have to follow by these rules. I'm just using Abyssal Reef as reference because it's a good map. It's balanced, right? So, until you get good at making maps, you're going to want to do that. Alrighty. This is a nice choke, maybe a bit too small. So I'm actually going to make this choke a bit bigger. Like that. Okay. And then the third's going to have to go here, so let's see what we can do about that. I'm just going to have another trench here, because why not? Now, I do have to be mindful that by adding this trench behind the third, there's not going to be room behind. There's not going to be room behind the third, so units can't be placed there to defend against airdrops. So I just need to be mindful of that and maybe work out a way that I don't know, maybe extend this a bit to give the defenders some chance to spot the air coming in, attacking them. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to have to probably go back and make all this impathable terrain right here. But I think it's looking pretty nice. Okay, so our third's going to be right here. Ooh, before I forget, let me make sure that my main to third is roughly 67, more or less. So Control M, press V, and find the middle square. 67, 67. Yeah, it's just about 67. You see how it said path none? That was because it's impossible for you to get from point A to point B without like being a Reaper or something. So it just tries. Okay, so yeah, that works very well. Awesome. Whoops. So this will be our amazing third base. Basically, all the StarCraft II melee map is just paths leading to different mineral fields. And depending how you set up the paths and the mineral fields, that determines how fun or not fun your map is. Yeah, so here's our map so far. Yeah, this seems really small. Damn, this is scary. Spooky. Okay. So, let's go back to Abyssal Reef and steal some more mineral fields. Yeah, dog. So, for this one, I want it to be straight down. Come on, Abyssal Reef. Do you not have one that's straight down? Don't do me like that. Alright, this one's not straight down, but it's okay because I can just modify it. So I'm going to press U for Unix, select all these Unix, Control C, window, go back to my entitled map, Control V, slap it here, space, right? And I'm going to select this Vespene geyser and just move it on over to where it works. Okay, that looks good. Now I make sure that that I move the Vespene geyser, right? Which I said don't do that, but this works because you see how the command center or the nexus or whatever is 5 by 5. It can fit squarely between the two blue boundaries. So that works. There we go. So move this over a bit. Yet again, I want to make sure that there's plenty of space behind the mineral field so that you can defend against air. Even more so because I don't know, if your mineral field is against your door, so like say the mineral field is right here, we can actually fit the field pretty snugly against the higher elevated terrain because it's friendly owned. Or if you want that particular area to be difficult to secure, so like say it was a gold or high yield expansion near the center of the base, you can have the mineral field not have as much room behind it to make it difficult to secure. Like, oh man, air Unix are sieging me up from behind here. I need to take care of this. But you're natural in third. You want it to be pretty easily defendable. Starting at your fourth is when you start making your mineral fields pretty spooky. Like, oh man, that's gonna be scary to hold. Alrighty, there we go. That's our third base. Lovely. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to work on this choke. It looks really weird. So let's go back to Abyssal Reef and look at our opportunities for third and fourth bases. So what Abyssal Reef does is it has these two bases can both be qualified as the third. So one it can be the third, one can be the fourth. They have their own advantages. As I was talking about earlier, see how the natural has lots of room behind to defend against air, but this third does not have that much room because it is facing against a friendly side of the board. So you'll notice that with most mineral fields. All right. Cool. Okay, so Control M. Natural to third. We have that. So let's find the distance between both of these thirds, which is path is 49 and line is 27. And then maybe right here too. So 49, 27. So if we have 49, 22, I'm looking at paths right now, and 39. So 39, 39, and like what? 20? Yeah, okay. Just write that down somewhere. 39, like 42, 20. It doesn't have to be exact. Let's go back over to our untitled map 1 asterisk. Alright, so 39. I think that would work. Somewhere about here, so I'm gonna flag it. Okay. And then go back to Control M. Yeah, this is roughly 42 away. I'll probably extend this choke anyways, so it'll make the pathing a bit smaller. 39, 42, and what was the last one? 20? Alright, we have another base, maybe like right here-ish. Oh, that's way bigger than 20. No, that can't be right. Maybe not like over here or something. Okay, so I'm gonna start by making this choke wider by pressing T, then space to open up my. Awesome. Okay. So I don't know. What do I want to do here to make a good map? I'm just kind of winging this. I was not planning to make a spectacular map in over video. Maybe I'll do that one day, like a full map. But this is more just a tutorial. Okay, what I'm thinking is having high ground here that has a ramp that can be backdoored right into the third. Like maybe right here. Or something like that. Maybe even we can put maybe like some high yield minerals on this plateau or whatever you want to call it. Ah, damn it, that happens a lot. If you do too many actions with one click and then make a mistake at the end and you undo it, it's like rip. So we do want to be mindful of the distance between main to main and natural to natural. Whew, okay. I had to move my microphone there so you guys' ears didn't blow out. So I'm going to put this right here. Now, I have to be careful with the center here because we want a lot of empty area in the center so that Zerg can do their thing. Or else Zerg are going to hate your map. Hey, which is fine by me. I hate Zerg too, but you know, you want it balanced. I'm a Protoss main, by the way. I really struggle with Zerg. It's my lowest win rate. So... But I have nothing against the players that play Zerg, you know. Let's see, maybe eighth. No, don't do that. No. There we go. 3 seems pretty good. I think 3 would work. Okay. I don't know, this just seems odd to me. I'm going to move it to the right one. Okay. That looks a bit better in my opinion. Maybe down one more. It's not even. Nope, no, not ramp. Whoop. Okay. I think I can live with that. Okay. All right, so I'll put a base here. Okay, so one difficult thing that you want to do, it's really hard when you have maps like this, is normally players are just going to be rushing from main base to main base. Why would I ever want to go over here? Or why would I ever want to go over here, right? So how you can tell a map is good is by how they employ that dead space at the side of the map and make it usable. Now, you can be like, you know, take the easy way out and you just slap a gold base there. But I don't really like that because it leaks a lot of weird like proxy hatcheries. Like Inksta expands on the gold base there, and it's like, oh, I have to scout that. That's kind of lame. But you know, you do you if you want to do that. That's a pretty easy way to do it, and it kind of forces that area of the map to be used. But I want to think of a different way that we can do this. All right. I might need to move this up a bit to here because the middle of the map seems a bit too small. Something like that, maybe. And I'll do some more fine details when we get there. Okay. So I had 3. No, please, game. There we go. Okay. Let's see, it's a long and tedious process. Yeah, I definitely can't have it that big. I don't want Reapers to be able to go here, so I want there to be a small chasm where the Okay, so I'm going to extend this out just a tad. I think this should be enough space for Zerg to do the thing. Maybe not, though. You always need to playtest the map because you're never going to know how balanced or imbalanced it is until you get some players on it saying that you're the worst map maker ever, right? Okay. Then you'll start realizing, like, okay, you know, my maps. So personally, my maps tend to be too closed. There's too many chokes, or there's not enough space for the units to move around, such as Zerg, and that's just a bias against Zerg. I'm not doing it intentionally. It's just, you know, when I think of what a good map is, I think, oh yeah, lots of chokes, big fights at the chokes. Protoss wins, right? I'm not doing it because I want to make the map unfair. It's just naturally what goes through my mind. And you'll notice that when you're making your maps, you're going to have tendencies like that, where like, okay, my maps have too much dead space. There's too many drops into the main or whatever. It's too easy to get Widow Mines back there, or you know, whatever. Add some stuff back here so it looks more appealing. There we go. We'll make it more pretty later, but alright, so I think I'm gonna have the base here and then a nice big ramp to the center. So this actually might get a bit hairy because this high ground here you don't want it to be where like you can put siege tanks here and then siege up a third, because like that's how are you supposed to counter that, right? A third should be pretty easy to defend. Maybe if it was the fourth or fifth, then sure, yeah, you can add that, but a third, meh. All right, here we go. Right here, I think this is where maybe the fifth or sixth will go. Maybe I'll put the gold mineral field here. Yeah, because it's really close to the center of the map. Okay, so I'll have this back door. So I'll put the mineral field here. Facing bottom right. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. And then I'll have this back door here. How does that look? Yeah, I think I need a bit more room. So there's not really an easy way for me to explain how to make a good map, because to be honest, I don't know how to make a good map either. It's just a lot of practice, a lot of play testing, find people online to play your maps, and you'll just get better as you go. I've never had a map published to the Blizzard ladder. You know, that's kind of a dream. Like, oh yeah, maybe one day I'll get noticed and that'll happen. I want to get that Community Commander award. That thing looks awesome, in my opinion. In case if you guys don't know what that is, it's just it's like a profile picture that you can put. You get it from like outstanding community contribution. So like getting your map on the ladder is one example. Posting on forums, helping out the community, just being kind of a good guy or girl. That'll get it done. Shoot, this is a really weird angle to build at. All right, so I'm gonna actually push this out, and then I'm gonna re-add the ramp. All right, well, apparently Blizzard is just like, no, we don't want you to have your ramp look nice. Screw you, David. Whatever. Okay, I guess I'll just have to go back later and add some doodads there and make it unpathable. Fun. Okay. Oops, see, I'm getting a bit too close to the dead zone. There can't be any place where someone can walk, and there's just not, you can't build there. So, that's pretty scary. Yeah. Let me make sure that we don't get too far down. Sometimes what I would recommend, just to make sure you stay away from the dead zone, is right when you start the map, you can just instantly go around all of this area, make sure it's all trenched out, and then make it look more natural later. But I don't know, I didn't do that because I'm lazy. Also, I'm not trying to make a super professional map right now, so I'm not doing all the pro tips. But that's a good start. All right, let's look at how the map's looking so far. So our fourth is going to be there. Our fifth is going to be here. I think this should be a bit bigger. Choke might be too small, but I don't know. I guess we'll see when we play test it. And I'll probably upload a replay or two of my of some friends of mine playing on this map. Once it's all done, that'll be a while though. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do want to make this. There's something here for the back door. Why would someone go through this back door? Maybe I could put rocks here. Destructible rocks. But if I do that, then I want this ramp to be 2. Hold on, let me remove this ramp and move it up a bit. I'm sorry if I'm not making much sense, but it's more just, it's a creative process. Right, it's hard to explain the creative process. I think we have one more base here. Okay, there we go. Get rid of this dead space. Yeah, this is a lot of dead backdoor space. I want to see if there's a way to implement it. I don't know if there is. I can extend this so there's. I don't know. Yeah, that's too far in. Let's try that. Well, that. Move it up a bit more. Interesting. Sorry, I just need to take a second and look at the map and see what I'm going to do with it. Alright, I could put an expansion here. And then an expansion here. Then one more here. think I need to put an expansion here too, or else it's just gonna be useless. But there's just really not that much space here. Yeah, there's not that much space. Let's see what I can do. Yeah, there's not too much to say right now. I'm just, you know, working. What happened here? Huh. Okay, well there's just a bug in the symmetry. So what I'm gonna do is that was at the natural, right? Yeah, that's at the natural. I'm gonna copy this with Control C, then go over here, delete all of this because I don't know what's real and what's fake, and go back over, Control V. There we go. Easy money. Yeah, we definitely need a base there. So we copy this. Control V. Shoot. I think it was Alt period. Yeah, I still got it. All right. There we go. So see, I don't have as much space right here, but that's because this is just such a far expansion. I really do not think, like at this point in the game, if they're getting harassed by air, shame on them. Like once they have this place secured. But see, what I see a lot of map makers do is they would just make this a gold so that people would like want to go there. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like the easy way out. We want a different reason. Why would people want to go through here? Maybe because it's hard to get through this path. So yeah, if I put rocks here, then that might give people an excuse to maybe even not full rocks, just half of it is rocked off. I don't know. Now the question is, do I want the mineral field to be, do I want it to be here? Or do I want it to be here? And this is like a backdoor area. I'm thinking here, just because it's so hard to get all the way around here. So, nope, I don't have Unix selected. Okay. Hey, Kalina. No. Quiet. Come here. Come here. This is my dog. Oh no, you were gonna think that it was my cat. Oh. Shut up. Alrighty. Okay, so we've gotten a lot done so far. I'm going to take a break and maybe upload this video and then continue part 2 maybe in a few hours, maybe tomorrow, who knows. So yeah, it's been a great day working with you guys on this